So, welcome everyone to Ling. Thanks for coming on a special Friday night. I've seen you before. I haven't seen you before. Okay. Is this your first time here?
Yes.
Wow. Welcome. What is your background with meditation and or Buddhism?
I didn't do meditation.
Okay. Have you listened to any of the lectures? Probably not. Great. Okay. Well, before we get into it, then just want to take a moment to remind us to adjust our motivation. So please think that the purpose of my life is to benefit all sentient beings. And in order to benefit all sentient beings in the best, most effective possible way, I myself must first achieve the highest state of my own development, that of complete enlightenment. And therefore, I need to learn about the various practices that lead to enlightenment and put them into practice. And therefore I've come to this lecture this evening. Please think that whatever positive energy we create in our time tonight may only go serve as the cause for all sentient beings to achieve the highest state of enlightenment as quickly as possible. So, sorry, what's your name?
Divya.
Divya. Okay. Divya, we have been doing this course on the Heart Sutra. And today, actually, I was hoping to finish. We have done, now this is the 12th session. So, I'm not going to make any guarantees about how much you're going to understand. Okay? But I will try my best, and you try your best. There are all of the lectures and set of materials that have been done so far have been recorded, and if you so wished, you could go over and catch up. So, why don't we just do a recitation of the Heart Sutra, like we normally do. We didn't do a meditation at the beginning of the session. Instead, we ate cake. Okay? So we, want to be cognizant of the time. And I am serious, I do want to finish the commentary. And then when Venerable Lexo comes, he can do a review. That is my intention for tonight, but let's see what happens, okay? So, please turn to the Heart Sutra. By the way, how many of you have memorized it? 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. No problem. So any language, you can do it in Tibetan, Sanskrit, English, you know. Very good to do. All right. So again, to review. So if you're in this prayer book, it's on page 76. Okay. It's also in the blue book. I don't have one of the blue books. It's okay, don't give me one. It's the same translation. Okay? So, again, you know, at the beginning of the session, I was saying we need to adjust our motivation. The purpose of our life is to benefit all sentient beings. In order to benefit them in the best way, we need to attain enlightenment ourselves. So that is the essence of the motivation with which we undertake all of our quote-unquote spiritual practice. Right? So even whatever we're doing, even this recitation of the sutra, we bring that same motivation along with us. And to help with that, then it's very useful to imagine in the space around us, all sentient beings are along with us here. And as we recite the sutra, all sentient beings are reciting it with us. That sets up a dependent origination, kind of auspicious connection that, you know, we then continue to practice together with more and more sentient beings. And then as we attain enlightenment, then all sentient beings will attain enlightenment with us. Then we can also visualize the Buddha in the space in front. And as we're reciting the words of the sutra, we can imagine that the Buddha is reciting these teachings for us. And we gain realization. Or we can also think that we're reciting it, we're giving these teachings to all sentient beings. And as we recite it and they hear it, they achieve the realizations of all the meaning within this text. Okay? Then the other thing, the multiplication mantra that is to be recited before any recitation of sutra. Yes?
Sorry, what did you say?
Okay, there's a mantra to be recited. Can you not hear in general, or can you just not hear that last time?
I can hear you, but
Okay.
my mind was somewhere, so I missed that sentence.
Okay. So there's a multiplying mantra that is to be recited before any recitation. It increases the power of our recitation. So that is ta ta dare dare ben dare soha. Okay? So let's recite that 7 times. And by the way, birthday girl. No. No. Listen, I don't want excuses. What I'm saying is, I know you often lead recitations of the Golden Light Sutra here on Saturday.
Yeah.
So everything that I've just said,
Yeah.
it'd be good to practice.
Which
Sorry,
page
man.
is this?
Sorry, man.
Multiply.
I'm just keeping our members more alert.
Okay. Sebastian, what page is it on? It's not in that book. It's not in either of those books. If you have the copy of the Sangata Sutra that was printed, you know, by, FPMT printed it, it's on sangatasutra.net, then it's there in the instructions on how to recite the sutra. Okay? But that's the reason I said it aloud. So you listen. Taita Om Dare Dare Bendare So. It's quite a simple mantra. Right? So we recite that 7 times. Taita Om Dare Dare Bendare So. 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 Listen. The Heart of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, I prostrate to the Arya Triple Gem. Thus said it here at one time. Bhagavan was dwelling on Mount Zopa mountain in Manchuria, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in concentration on the categories of phenomenon called profound perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shakyamuni said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara. How should any lineage trained who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shakyamuni. Shakyamuni, any son of lineage or daughter of lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, combinational factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Therefore, Shariputra, therefore in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no combinational factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomena. There is no I element, and so on, up to including no mind element and no mental conscious element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, Bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, to reach the endpoint of nirvana. All the Buddhists who dwell in 3 times also manifestly, completely awaken to the unsurpassable, complete enlightenment, in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Tayata gate gate pare gate parasam gate bodhiswama. Shariputra. The Bodhisattva Mahasattva should train in profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan rose in that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Mahasattva saying, well said, son of lineage, it is like that. It is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom just as you have indicated, even that none like others rejoice. The Bhagavan having thus spoken, the Venerable Shakyamuni Buddha, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya and those surrounding in their entirety, along with the world, gods, humans, asuras, and Pandavas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan. Okay. So, some of the past weekends, when we've taught the sutra, we would have a Saturday night and a Sunday morning session. And on the Saturday night session, I would do a kind of recap. What in my view should be a recap for the people who've been coming to the sessions. But yeah, tonight is all we have this weekend about the Heart Sutra. So I'm just going to say this. You know, all this no, all these negations, right, that you see in the sutra here, okay? So, it is not saying that there is no I, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. That's not the meaning. Okay? That's not the meaning. There is eyes, ears, nose, tongues, bodies, minds. Right? But the way that the eye, nose, ear, everything exists is not the way it appears to us. Okay? To us. To us non-Buddhas, the way that things appear and the way they exist are not the same. Discordant. But the way they appear to us, we grasp on, or we assent, we agree with the way it appears to us. And actually that fundamental mistake is the source and root of all of our suffering. Therefore, if we wish to be rid of suffering, and we do, then the only way is to inquire into the way that phenomena exist. Okay? So what I'm saying, the way they exist, not if they exist or not. Right? So this distinction between the way things exist, right, is what we then call like the realm of the ultimate nature of reality. Right? Whereas we also have a conventional nature of reality, right, being what is agreed upon in the world by worldly convention, right? What kind of rose is this? Huh?
Red.
Jahan rose.
It's a red.
Nur?
Jahan.
Nur Jahan rose.
Just smell it.
Yeah.
No.
It has a lovely smell.
Okay. Yes, you're right. No, but you see, it's just like this, right? I know rose, right? You know. So it's here, then, oh, it's a rose. I know that designation. There's no Nur Jahan rose. I didn't know that. Right? I don't know these things. Okay. So anyway, how do you tell a Nur Jahan rose from another type of rose?
By the way it looks and the way it smells.
Well, what does Shakespeare say? A rose by any other name would still smell as sweet. So anyway, by worldly convention, okay, we designate all these different things. And for some people, it's just a rose. To other people, it's Nur Jahan rose and like whatever kinds of roses. Actually, have any of you? I'm sorry, but have any of you been to Vienna?
Yeah.
Vienna?
Yeah.
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 There's an amazing rose garden there. Okay? So once when I was backpacking through Europe, it's a big rose garden. Big. And I did what they said. I took the time to stop and smell the roses. So I went through that rose garden and like really smelled every one. It was a very lovely afternoon.
It's also called the best and most livable city in the world. It's been ranked.
Bangalore was number 2.
It's somewhere down.
Okay. Anyway. What was I talking about roses? Oh yeah. Worldly convention. Worldly convention. Okay? So, the mere presence of, like, you know, roses, Nur Jahan roses. I don't even know what other kinds of roses there are, right? But, you know, that is all to be decided with worldly consciousnesses, right? You get a rose expert in here, you say, no, these are the distinguishing characteristics, blah, blah, blah. Right? No, this is a Nur Jahan rose. Then, you know, later, let's stop talking about roses for a second, but orchids, you know, in Singapore, there's this, the orchid, what is it? Something. Orchid pavilion or something. They actually genetically engineer new types of species, or like varieties of orchids, right? And then they name them after, like, one is named after Nelson Mandela, one is named after... Okay, right? Yes? Shah Rukh Khan. Okay? When I go there next, I'll say we should name one after Subhashini. Okay? So, anyway, you know, these things... what's my point? There's like some worldly convention, we all get together, right? Whatever linguistic community. And we say, okay, this is the Shah Rukh Khan orchid. This is the Nur Jahan? Jahar. Jahan. Nur Jahan rose.
Wife of Shah Jahan.
She wasn't the wife of Shah Rukh Khan.
Huh? She was the wife of Shah Rukh Khan? I know, just, okay, okay. Okay. Okay? Yeah. My point. There are like these worldly conventions that we come to agree on, and then those become, you know, acceptable in the world, right? And there are other worldly consciousnesses, right, that then will determine what type of rose this is, right? Or even if there is a rose on the table, right? Or it could be, you know, some like origami or something, right? Anita, right? From back there, it's like, oh, is that a flower? Or is that some pink paper? You know?
Yeah.
So to determine that, you come here and with your other worldly consciousnesses, you know, you can determine that, right? So that is all on the conventional side of reality. That's conventional truth. Here, what the subject matter of this sutra is on the ultimate. So, although, you know, we could be mistaken whether this is a rose or a piece of paper folded up in a certain way, that type of ignorance, the ignorance about the conventional reality, isn't the root of our suffering, isn't the root of samsara. But rather, I might actually be allergic to this, but rather, it's the ignorance on the ultimate status of phenomena that is the root of samsara. And how then does the ignorance hold on to phenomena to exist? It's that here we see, you know, inherent nature, right? So inherent nature means that a phenomena would exist in and of itself without depending on any other phenomena for its existence. Okay? So on a very superficial level, we can all agree, no, that doesn't happen, right? For the you know, rose to exist, you know, it had to have come from just a sprout. Comes up and then the rose comes, right? So it depends on causing conditions. The cup dependent on the whatever kind of substance makes the porcelain and the paint and the glaze and all that, right? So on a superficial level, we all have some sense, you know, even the farmers in the field, they know that, you know, their harvest comes from planting the seeds at the beginning of the year, right? But the type of ignorance we have is a sort of innate kind of, you know, innate means not having to think, right? Not having to philosophize, but a very immediate type of, you know, appearance and assenting. Yeah? Assenting, acquiescing, agreeing with that appearance as true. So, then how does that cause problems? See, you know, we might come to think of an object as then being beautiful or attractive. When that happens, then what do we want? You know, we want to hold on to it. We don't want to share, right? We want to grasp to it. If someone comes and you know, takes it from us, or you know something, we'll get upset. So that's coming from the fact that we have this natural, innate kind of conception of the value or the beauty of the object coming from the side of the object. You know? As opposed to the saying, right, beauty is not in the eye of the beholder, right? You heard that? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You know, that is right. You know, means there's no intrinsic beauty from the side of the object, but, you know, depending on who looks at it, the values, you know, what they value, how they judge it, then they can label it beautiful or not, right? But even though we have that nice kind of you know, saying, the way we live our lives is not like that. We have a very strong kind of, well, the innate, plus it's enhanced by the conditioning of, you know, advertisements and so forth. That's, you know, further programming us to think that those things are beautiful. And that, therefore, if we come to possess that, we'll, you know, be happy. Okay. So anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is, before one can teach or study emptiness, as a teacher one needs to make that very clear to all the students, that, you know, the difference between the conventional reality and the ultimate reality. And when we are talking no form, no feeling, no knows, whatever, right? Then we're talking on the ultimate level. But ultimately, all these things are refuted, but conventionally, they are not refuted at all. Conventionally, they do exist. And if we keep that in mind, we then, you know, prevent ourselves from falling in the so-called extreme of nihilism, thinking that nothing exists. Okay? It's not that things don't exist, it's that the way they exist is not in accordance with how they appear to us. And not only that, for us, ordinary beings who haven't realized emptiness yet, then it's not just that it appears in a way that is discordant from its reality, but we have a innate clinging or grasping to that appearance as being real, reflective of reality. Okay?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can, Sebastian. You can ask a question.
Now, since the labeling is done as part of conventional reality, what we label as
Mm.
a table or a desk or a flower or a beautiful baby.
Mm.
Now, if there is no conventional labeling and everything has to be within the realm of ultimate reality, but we are living in a world of conventional reality. Unless we transcend that, and transcending that isn't, then we are no longer in conventional reality. How do we kind of tune both together?
What do you mean when you say we need to transcend conventional reality?
Reject what you just said. I mean, what I mean is reject that there is an innate, inherent, that the definition of conventional reality, and which says that it isn't innate, it isn't inherent, it's only our perception, and that gives us the realm of conventional reality. Because when we say conventional reality, we are more or less in accord with each other.
Yeah.
For instance, that is a whatever it is, I mean in front of you. Okay, a book. All of us know what a book is. Because all of us have designated it as a book.
Yeah, okay, so so what's the question?
The question is, how do we all then go into ultimate reality when we are living in a conventional world?
So, sometimes, okay, so, where I'm studying, J, we have all this debate, right? And I think through that, one gets to be a little bit finicky with words, and one demands a high level of precision from words. So, Sebastian, part of what's difficult for me in answering your question is that, when you say like, I don't know, go into ultimate reality, it's like, it's not that, like going into a house or something like this. So I'm maybe failing to grasp the upshot of everything that you're saying.
Okay, maybe realizing.
Yeah.
Realizing ultimate, okay.
So,
Realizing.
but then, then I give you that. But then you're saying, how do we realize ultimate reality when we're living in the conventional reality? It's like, I don't see how living in the conventional world would serve as a barrier to realizing the ultimate nature of reality. Just that mere fact. That mere fact that we're living in a conventional reality. Okay? Now, this appearance of true existence, see, the true existence doesn't exist even conventionally. Okay? Anyway, I'm getting some glazed faces here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't, other than, you know, all the explanations of like how then we realize emptiness, I don't know how, like, what your question is more than just how then do we realize emptiness. Right? Is there something in your head that's like, it's not just how do we realize emptiness, but there's some extra barrier that you're putting up? It seems that way, by the way you ask that question. Rather than just saying, oh, how then do we realize emptiness? Right? It wasn't just that. It was this talk of the conventional, right? So I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying, you know, then when I'm, you know, my job in trying to help you realize emptiness and get enlightenment, then I, you know, when I'm listening, I'm like, okay, what is actually the crux of what she's getting at, and how can I clear that away? And so in my mind, I could be wrong, right? There would be a meaning for, instead of just saying, how do we then realize emptiness? To then, you know, not to do that and to kind of say all that stuff about how we're living in the conventional. So I'll ask you: what is extra beyond the question, how do we realize emptiness? Or is that the essence of it? Is that your question? Do you guys understand?
You're positing two things, and I'm unable to grasp that. I mean, the two.
Okay. Yeah, so, alright, I'll just say a few things, you know, because it's like this, right? Sometimes, actually, I hear like question and answer between very great lamas, right, and their students. And where I'm at it, you know, where I'm, you know, listening to it, if it's going through a translator, then sometimes I think something gets lost in the translation, right? Because then I'm like, that's really not answering that person's question. You know what I mean? So it's very, very important to understand the question. Right? So I'm trying to do that.
I think he is saying that the conventional reality and ultimate reality somehow, how can they coexist? Somehow it seems to be a little bit different world of conventional reality and ultimate.
Okay.
Or maybe that's why you said one should not grasp to emptiness. Because unless we get back into the conventional world, then we cannot function or exist in this world, in the conventional world. You know, those who realize emptiness have to get back into the conventional world.
Anyway, I'll say this. Okay, now again, especially, be careful with your language, because it's not like, even those who, you know, realize emptiness have to get back to the conventional world, right? Right? So it seems like there's this place, like, okay, I'm going on vacation to Goa. Oh, but after 2 weeks I have to get back to my job in Bangalore. Right? So it's like, you know, I've gone somewhere else, right? And then I come back. You know, it's not like that. This is the upshot of, you know, form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness, right? So, you know, one phenomena, right? One phenomena can have both its conventional nature and its ultimate nature, in one phenomena, on one basis. And if you go searching for the ultimate nature of the flower, you have to do that on the basis of a flower being there, right? So,
would it be correct to say every ultimate truth must have a conventional truth and every conventional truth must have an ultimate truth? They're interlinked and interdependent.
so this is okay. Okay. Anyway, you see, what is the ultimate nature of the flower? Nishita.
I wouldn't know because I haven't perceived out.
Well, no, okay, no. First, okay. You can know the right words, right? This is the three types of wisdom, right? Wisdom from hearing, wisdom from contemplating, wisdom from meditating, right? So through hearing the teachings or reading, you come to know the right words to explain things. Most of you can say, "Oh, the flower doesn't have inherent existence." That's the right words, right? But of course, what inherent existence means, difficult, right? But then we think, we contemplate, what does this mean, right? We contemplate for a long time, you know. So, in the realm of words, what is the ultimate nature of this flower? Okay. Well, to be more precise, the lack of inherent existence of the flower, right? Its lack of inherent existence is its ultimate nature. Right? Okay. So, in a place where there's no flower, okay, does the flower lack inherent existence? Huh?
Because it's in a place where there is no flower,
Okay.
so there is no question of the latter part arising.
Well, yeah, but hold on. In a place where there's no flower, does the flower inherently exist?
No, it doesn't exist.
Does it inherently exist?
In a place where there is no flower, does a flower inherently
Yes.
exist?
No, right? No way. So, the lack of inherent existence of the flower in a place where there's no flower, is that emptiness?
Could you please repeat that again?
Okay, so in a place where there's no flower,
I understand everything.
yeah, others might not. In a place where there's no flower, does a flower inherently exist? No. So, in a place where there's no flower, the flower, does it lack inherent existence?
True. Does it lack?
Does it? Yes.
It's a question. Does it
Yeah.
lack inherent
Does the flower lack inherent existence? In a place where there's no flower.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't lack inherent existence. That means, if it doesn't lack something, that means it has it, right?
Ah, yes.
Right? Right? It's a double negative. Right? Okay, so in a place where there's no flower, does the flower lack inherent existence?
Yes.
Yeah, because the negation and negation. So
It's no question. It's no question of inherent existence because it's non-existent.
Well, yeah.
that's not stuff.
Okay, look. Let's see. You know, I don't have any children. Okay?
Really?
I don't have any children
Oh.
besides you guys.
Oh.
Okay?
Yeah.
Alright. Now,
There is no question of the blue-eyed.
yeah, but hold on. If I say, is my son's eyes blue?
It has no basis, so I mean.
What would you say, yes or no?
No.
No, right?
It's non-existent.
Okay. So if it's non-existent, it's not blue, right? Right? Okay, nice. Okay, we're there, right? Okay. So, now, the place where there's no flower, okay, is the flower inherently existent?
No.
No. So, does the lack of inherent existence of a flower exist?
Where?
Okay. In a place where there's a flower, the lack of inherent existence of a flower exists, right? Okay. Now in a place where there's no flower, does the lack of inherent existence of a flower exist?
No.
Okay.
Not of a flower.
So now we get the double negative. So at a place where there's no flower, the lack of inherent existence of a flower doesn't exist. So the inherent existence of a flower exists.
Ha. So that is coming back to square one when it comes to an upper negation, right?
And therefore, what do we conclude?
Everything lacks inherent existence.
No, but everything has.
Lacks in it.
Everything has. its
Sorry,
inherent-
yeah.
Emptiness needs a flower to exist.
Does not inherently
Wow.
The emptiness of a flower needs a flower in order to exist.
exist. Yeah.
No, don't. I'm asking a question, and you guys answer the question I give you. Okay? Right? That's how this works. In a place where there's no flower, does the flower inherently exist? Does the flower lack inherent existence?
Yes.
Does the lack of inherent existence of a flower exist? Huh?
Not of the flower. Yeah, lack of inherent existence of a flower exists. Yes.
In a place where there's no flower.
Of course.
Okay, so Nishita is putting her stake in the ground with that. I'm hearing some no's in the back. Okay? So who are my naysayers? Archana, you're saying at a place where there's no flower, the lack of inherent existence of a flower doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me put it like this, okay? This is supposed to be my review. I was thinking I'll just go over this in like 2 minutes, but you know, sometimes our best laid plans, they don't go to waste, but sometimes they don't just happen like we think they will. Okay, so now Archana, you're with me, right? Okay. In a place where there's no elephant, okay? Let's say, does, okay, the elephant's trunk exist?
No.
No, right? Does the lack of an elephant's trunk exist?
Yes.
No.
Actually, even if somebody cuts a trunk and puts
In
it,
that
it is
particular
possible.
room,
Okay,
Yeah.
that is smart. Okay. Yeah. Uh, okay. We're getting a little bit off point. Okay. The impermanence of the elephant doesn't exist at a place where there's no elephant, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Does the lack of permanence of an elephant exist at a place where there's no elephant?
Yes.
No.
Huh? No. Okay, so this is something about logic. I'm just going to fast forward so you can think about this later, okay? You see, we say, you know, there's no inherent existence whatsoever, right? Right? There's no permanent elephant whatsoever, right? So, whether there are elephants or no elephants, the elephant lacks permanence. Well, we can say a permanent elephant doesn't exist. How about that? That's more precise. Even in a place where there's no elephant, there's no permanent elephant. Okay? Right? So even in a place where there's no flower, there's no inherently existent flower. Right? There's no flower. See, once there's a flower, you can ask, is it inherently existent or non-inherently existent, right? Right? So if you say there's no flower, in that place there's no inherently existent flower, there's no non-inherently existent flower. Full stop. Right? So the lack of inherent existence of flower exists everywhere. Because for the lack of the inherent existence of a flower not to exist, that would mean an inherently existent flower would exist. That's what the double negation means. Okay? So, in the place where there's no flower, the flower lacks inherent existence. But the flower's lack of inherent existence in a place where there's no flower is not emptiness. Even though, in general, the flower's lack of inherent existence is emptiness.
Yeah, without the flower, you can't say that is.
Okay. You guys with me? Why was I getting into all this stuff? Just mind games around the campfire at night? Talking about how the conventional and ultimate is on one base. It's one nature, but different isolates. That's the terminology we used. It's terminology I said, I remember.
Yeah.
Right?
let that come back a little. But how are they compatible? Because the fundamental argument of both is different.
It's like, you know, for dessert, okay, for like my main course, I want something spicy. But for dessert, I want something sweet. Okay. Is that compatible? So Subhashini, yeah. So, you know that statement that for whom emptiness is possible, everything is possible. For whom, emptiness is not feasible, nothing is feasible. Right? Yes? You remember that, right? Last time I was here, I think I spent quite a lot of time with that. So, think about that. But yeah, I have other things I want to say tonight, so I can't just keep going over that again. Okay? Anyway, so all of us, right? The rest of us, we understand. When we're talking about no, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, we're talking on the ultimate level that does not in any way affect or negate what is there or not there in the conventional reality. Okay? Yes? Okay. I keep emphasizing that point because that's my job. It's in the Bodhisattva vows not to give teachings on emptiness to unripened vessels. Unripened vessels means students who it's not suitable to teach emptiness. Who is it not suitable to teach emptiness? No. To whom is it not suitable to teach emptiness? Those who cannot, make sense of these, conventional and ultimate reality being compatible. So, yeah. The minimum kind of standard or minimum bar for a student to receive teaching on emptiness is to understand that we can, negate things on an ultimate level and not negate them on a conventional level. Okay. So, of course, to get the very full meaning is very profound. But just for now, even if you can't understand it, then just at the very least, don't refute the conventional reality. Don't come to then think that the sutra is saying that forms and such don't exist. Full stop. Okay? Okay, so we're quickly running out of time. I'm at the part of the commentary now where it says everything up to this point is for disciples of dull faculties. Okay? You with me? So now we're now in the blue book. What page? There's a yeah, that one. Yeah, just someone will tell us the page. You might be just don't turn. It's about there. So what page?
1/7.
1/7. We're almost at the end.
16 at the end, 1/7 at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything up to this point is for disciples of dull faculties. So in the sutra, where are we? In the sutra itself, therefore the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom. Okay? Right?
Therefore, because bodhisattvas have no attainment.
Yeah? I thought we were talking about the mantra now. Therefore the mantra of the perfection of wisdom. Right?
We stop at 60, the other can be inferred.
Oh really? Oh there, okay. Alright, so yeah, the mode of training on the path of no more learning is, therefore, Sharipuja, because bodhisattvas have no attainment, right? They rely upon bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear, having completely passed beyond error, they reach the endpoint of nirvana. Okay? So, so this is interesting. Path of no more learning. We went over this last time. We went over this a lot. So we have 5 paths. Here we're on the Mahayana path. Right? Where we have the 5 paths. What are the 5 paths? Maybe Anita?
5 paths.
Yeah. The 5 Mahayana paths. The first one is accumulation. The path of accumulation.
Accumulation,
Okay.
preparation,
See,
see,
Meditating
meditation.
and no more see, huh? No more learning. No, there's no
Meditation
more.
and meditation and no more.
Concentration and no more learning.
That's the last.
Accumulation, preparation, seeing, meditation, no more learning. Okay? And we went over what is the sort of, realization that occurs when one attains those various paths, right? Okay. So, the path of no more learning, the attainment of the path of no more learning is simultaneous with Buddhahood.
No.
Huh?
Buddha.
Buddha, thank you. So, the mode of training on the path of no more learning. What is that? Is the Buddha training? This is called the path of no more learning, right?
Towards the path.
He's already done it. He's already reached that level.
And furthermore, right? Because bodhisattvas have no attainment, right? Bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom. So a bodhisattva is necessarily not on the path of no more learning, right? So anyway, I think, again, I don't have the Tibetan in front of me, but this has to be understood as, it's still a bodhisattva who's training, right? So it's not, I think I would have to look at the Tibetan to see, but it's a bit strange to say the mode of training on the path of no more learning, right? Because no more learning also means no more training, right? It means Buddha. Okay? But just to look at this, right? So, Sharipuja, therefore, because there is no attainment, so again, does that mean there's no attainment? No, there's no inherently existent attainment. Because there's no inherently existent attainment, right? Yet there is an attainment, that means the attainment exists based on, its causes and conditions. Its causes and conditions being, training in the perfection of wisdom. Okay? So, if there were an inherently existent attainment, okay, then bodhisattvas could never become enlightened. Same logic with the flower.
But as in like how you talked about that situation, in a place where there is no flower.
Okay, keep talking. Yeah. No. Okay, hold on. Okay. If there were an inherently existent attainment, now I'm saying if there were an inherently existent attainment. Before with the flower, I was saying there's no flower, full stop. So now I'm saying there is an inherently existent attainment. So if there were an inherently existent attainment, then how does it follow that bodhisattvas could never achieve enlightenment? You agree with that statement, and then you're like, yeah, it's just like the flower. Right? So I agree with you agreeing with me, but I don't agree that it is exactly like the flower.
Yeah, because the context is different.
Okay.
But like, how you
The next sentence says it all. That through relying on perfection of wisdom, which means they have achieved that level that they are.
Okay. Look, remember. I ask a question, and I want the answer to that question. Don't give me, I say, I want a donut. I've had a donut craving recently. Then people are like, no, but I'll give you chocolate cake. I don't want chocolate cake, I want a donut. If I want a chocolate cake, I'd ask for chocolate cake. Okay? So now I'm asking you, if the attainment of enlightenment were inherently existent, okay? Now, I made the statement that then bodhisattvas could never attain enlightenment. Okay? So why is that? When I said that the first time, everyone's like, oh yeah, great.
Because then there is no.
because this is a process.
Okay, Wang do first. Yeah.
Bodhisattvas will never become Buddha if it was something inborn. And the qualities of Buddha was inherently existent. It will not rely on the conditions, the trainings that Bodhisattva had to go through.
Okay. One more sentence.
So those who will have it, and those who will not have it will not be able to reach there.
But will that arise? Because if it is inherently existent, everybody will be in that position, right? There won't be a question of bodhisattvas and the non-bodhisattvas.
Well, okay. So hold on.
Because there's nothing like no attainment.
No. Sebastian. So, this is, yeah. Okay? So, remember what inherent existence means, right? Inherent existence means that phenomena do not rely on other phenomena, okay? Full stop. So that also implies a sort of fixed nature, right? That means, if in moment one, right, it means a sort of static nature, fixed, okay? If enlightenment were inherently existent, it doesn't depend on causes and conditions for it to arise. Therefore, if in moment one you're not enlightened, you can't become enlightened ever, right? So, because that kind of enlightenment doesn't exist, yet there is another kind of enlightenment, the real enlightenment, that exists due to having arisen from causes and conditions, the bodhisattvas train in accumulating those causes and conditions that lead to the state of enlightenment. Okay? So, very good, well good. If enlightenment were inherently existent, then, bodhisattvas would never become enlightened. Why? Because they're not enlightened, bodhisattvas are not enlightened, and there's no way to change. There's no way to, change or rectify that situation through training. Because anything you would do, right, it couldn't lead to enlightenment. Because even all those trainings are not the cause of enlightenment. Why? Because enlightenment is inherently existent. Okay? To put it very clear with the logic, right? By the way, right, you guys should know all of this because Geshe Dorje Damdru came and taught the, 24th chapter of Mula Majjhimika, right? The examination of the Four Noble Truths. Yes, Shanti?
Yeah.
Shanti's like, a girl with the hand caught in the cookie jar, right? Because remember, the 24th chapter, what is it talking about? There's a person a hypothetical challenger to the Buddha saying, wait a minute, if you're saying that all of this lacks inherent nature, then, the Buddha wouldn't exist, the stream enters and the eight Sangha wouldn't exist, the Four Noble Truths wouldn't exist, da da da. Huh? So you're a nihilist, Nagarjuna. They accuse. Then Nagarjuna says, that shows, because you're arguing with me like that, that shows you don't know the purpose, you don't know the meaning, you don't understand emptiness. And then Nagarjuna turns all the arguments on the head and say, for you, if you don't accept inherent existence, then for you the Buddha wouldn't exist. Okay? Yes, Shanti.
Yes.
Have you read Ocean of Reasoning yet?
No. I read the introductory.
I read the title and I read some of the customer reviews on Amazon, and based on that I ordered it. It's okay, I'm joking. Shanti does a lot of good work keeping this place running, keeping the lights on as we speak. So, but I do poke fun at her because, we're all feeling her. But, there's these 5 texts that Lama Tsongkhapa wrote on emptiness. And it was a few years ago, right, that she asked me about that. Because His Holiness mentioned that in one teaching. And then afterwards, I remember I was in Mungod. I was at Gandhin in the courtyard. And I get a call. And she's like, oh, what are those 5 texts? I tell her. And then later I ask, okay, it's been some years since she asked what those 5 texts are. So how many of those 5 have you read? It's like, oh, I haven't read them, but I have a copy,
They're very difficult to read. I think the first time you read it anyway, you won't understand. I can't understand. I think one just has to just read it once.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's even more difficult to read. A book like this. See? Closed. Or a book like this with other books next to it. This is a verse.
Whenever I think a very good way to read all the text.
You're very what?
It's a dark good way to read text is to get an iPad which will read it out to you. So you can be walking around the house doing whatever and it's reading it out. It's fantastic.
You do that?
Yeah. I just got an iPad. I'm so thrilled with it.
And it reads out for you?
Yeah, it reads it out.
Come on.
Yeah. It is a software inbuilt in it. You say, hey Siri, and it says, yes, what can I do for you? And you say, speak screen.
So if
And
you
it
get an
speaks
ebook,
aloud.
it can read it out.
It's
The
fantastic.
software can read it
Yeah.
out. It sounds
You
like
get
a
good
robot, but it
Bluetooth
reads.
and you can hear it everywhere.
Okay. So now, Anita, now my expectations for you have gone up.
Yeah. So now just when I finish reading Nefertiti, then I'll
Wait,
start on the
hold on. Hold on. Okay.
next one.
Alright. Actually, yeah, okay. Let's continue. The meaning is that the conventional does not appear to the sight of meditative equipoise. Okay? This we have talked about before when we were talking about the Vajrayana Sutra. Okay? So again, the meditative equipoise, this is of a bodhisattva. Okay? So, this meditative equipoise, it will take a conventional phenomena and then analyze whether it exists ultimately. Okay? In a sense, it actually is searching for the ultimate on the basis of that conventional phenomena. Right? Or maybe put it another way. It's searching, on the basis of the conventional phenomena, it is searching in a way that if that phenomena were inherently existent, it would be findable under that type of analysis. Okay? It doesn't find it. Therefore, we conclude it doesn't inherently exist. You understand? Okay? So, but at the end of that search, the lid isn't found, okay? At all. No conventional phenomena is found. We debate a little bit, but we can say, that the lack of inherent existence of the lid is found. Okay? Right? But the lid isn't found. No conventional phenomena is found. But wait a minute, the lack of the inherent existence of the lid is found. That isn't a conventional phenomenon. That is a ultimate phenomenon, right? That's emptiness. Okay? That's why it is said in one sutra, right? The not seeing is the, ma tongwa ni tongwa dambao. Damba, it means like holy, or like the best, ultimate. Yeah? Right? So not seeing is the ultimate seeing. What does that mean? Upon analyzing, checking if something, ultimately exists, it's not non-findability means it's emptiness. That is the best seeing. Okay. Therefore, bodhisattvas practice the perfection of wisdom, abide in it, and go to the completion of nirvana. It is teaching that all the Buddhas of the 3 times also become Buddhas in that way. Right? So, what are the 3 times? Past, present, and future. Okay? So, since, the attainment of enlightenment depends on causes and conditions, to have that, it relies on its cause and conditions. Primary cause is the perfection of wisdom. Okay? Okay, so now, everything up to this point is for disciples of dull faculties. The instructions for those of sharp faculties are. Okay. So now, what does it mean to have dull faculties or sharp faculties? Okay. So, here you'll see different presentations in different texts. Okay? In certain texts, there's one by a Sangha. I forget which one. But anyway, Arya Sangha, he says that, like, kind of naturally speaking, right, you have the Shravakas, the Pratyeka Buddhas, and the Mahayana, right? And those in the Shravaka path are dull faculties. Those of the Pratyeka Buddha path are medium faculties. And those of the Bodhisattva path are sharp faculties. Okay? So, in one sense, all those in the Mahayana lineage are of sharp faculties. Okay? But, within the sharp, right? Within the sharp faculty ones, you can make a distinction between the dull of the sharp and the sharp of the sharp. Okay? So, then in Haribhadra's Droa Dunsel, or the Clear Meaning Commentary, he makes a differentiation. At the beginning of that Haribhadra text, what is it a commentary of? I don't expect you to know this. I expect everyone other than you to know this. Huh?
Prajnaparamita Sutras.
Close but no cigar. He wrote a commentary on the Abhisamaya Alamkara. The Abhisamaya Alamkara was written by whom? Maitreya. And it is a commentary on what? The hidden meaning of the Prajnaparamita Sutras. Okay. So anyway, then that Abhisamaya Alamkara, it has a expression of worship, right? Do you know what I'm do? Nientu Shiwa Sona, Kushinigi, Nishi Chize Kayenda, Jola Pemba Chena, Lamshinigi, Jitin Dunjut Zebaka, Kandayanda Dendre, Tunan Namba Kunde Naso Disumba, Nientu Janchu Sempe, Sogni, Yundela Chasalo, yes, okay? So, it is paying homage to the perfection of wisdom as being, the mother, Yum, the mother of all the three-time Buddhas. Okay. So, then, there's a lot of discussion as to why Maitreya composes that homage. Okay? And then in Haribhadra's commentary, it says, right, the people with so-called dull faculties, okay, just upon hearing the expression of homage to the Prajnaparamita as being the mother or the sole, the primary cause of the three-time Buddhas, then those of dull faculties will enter into, meaning engaging in study, practice, meditation of the perfection of wisdom. Okay? Those, of sharp faculties, so will then, upon hearing it, entertain a doubt, and then through reasoning, determine, the validity of the existence or the feasibility of the Prajnaparamita, and then they'll enter into engaging in the text. Okay? So actually the words he uses is, Tepe Jedram, like followers of faith, and Chugi Jedram, like followers of Ch is the Dharma, right? So followers of Dharma. Okay. So anyway, what we then say is like this. You know, Maitreya, he expresses all these qualities of the Prajnaparamita. Okay. So similarly, some of you who then go to teachings, and the Lama is talking about like, oh, enlightenment is like this, and then you'll have the power to enlighten all sentient beings, and you hear all the good qualities, and then you think, okay, yes, that's what I'm going to do. Okay? Right? So, whereas other people, the sharp faculty ones, okay, so what that means, sorry. Followers of faith means just having faith in one's Lama, then hearing the explanation of the good qualities of the Buddha or the Prajnaparamita, will then say, okay, I'm going to, sign up. I'm going to practice that. I'm going to do that. Okay? Whereas the sharper faculty ones, before they, say, I will attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, necessarily, will analyze and try to ascertain whether the goal of enlightenment is one that is feasible to attain. And how do you do that? Those ones, they then, through reasoning, establish emptiness first. Okay? So, although a lot more can be said about this, in general, those of sharp faculties, okay, they will necessarily realize emptiness before they realize bodhicitta. Those in the Mahayana lineage. Okay? Whereas the followers of faith, actually some of them do realize emptiness. But, well, there's a whole lot of debate about this. But anyway, they're willing to, kind of take their Lama's word for it, and start to engage, like, in the Bodhisattva practices before they've realized that the attainment of enlightenment is possible. Okay?
But to enter the Mahayana path, one has to realize bodhicitta first.
That's right. So what I'm saying is, these are people in the Mahayana lineage. They've awakened their Mahayana lineage, which is what? Development of great compassion. Okay? So at the development of great compassion, thinking, I myself must free all sentient beings from suffering, okay? Then it says in the text there's two things, right? There's the need to attain enlightenment, and there's the feasibility of attaining enlightenment. So anyone with great compassion sees the need to attain enlightenment. The need is what? That sentient beings are suffering, and, unless I, fully develop all qualities, I'll be of limited benefit to sentient beings. Right? But it's still a question, can I do it? So one would think then, okay, please think about this. How do we then come to understand that enlightenment is possible? I mean, in the text it says one needs to understand emptiness to do that, right? But then what is the relationship? Does someone who realizes emptiness, do they necessarily realize that the attainment of enlightenment is feasible, is possible?
Can't be.
Can't be.
Because possible for everyone. Because arhats could have realized emptiness, right?
what you're saying is true, but it's not tight, right? So, you're right. So guys, you should know me by now, right? If I say, if someone realizes emptiness, do they necessarily realize that enlightenment is possible? Then you say no, because this person realizes emptiness, but they don't realize emptiness is possible. And then I'll ask you, why don't they realize emptiness is possible? And then you give me the reason. And it's like, tight. Do kids talk like that anymore? You and your band? Oh man, that bass line was tight. Okay? So Shanti, tighten it up for me.
Because I'm
No.
joined with Bodhicitta.
Huh? No.
Because with my enlightenment,
Someone realizes
No, no.
emptiness, doesn't necessarily have to realize that enlightenment is possible.
Why not?
Because the Hinayana Arhatas realize emptiness, but they don't realize enlightenment is possible.
A Hinayana Arhat doesn't realize that that enlightenment is possible?
They do. For everyone it's not possible.
Are there Hinayana Arhats who realize that enlightenment is possible for everyone?
No.
Personal liberation, enlightenment, personal liberation or without?
I'll be back. I'm just doing that for a dramatic pause. Think about this. Shariputra there's many people who were bodhisattvas who then fell into the Hinayana path, right? So, to say, to say that there's no Hinayana Arhat, right, that realizes that enlightenment is possible for everyone, right, it's a very hard position to hold, because if there's just one in all the 10 directions of the universe who realizes it, then you lose your thesis, right?
Believe that Buddha is possible for everyone. But they believe that enlightenment, personal liberation is possible for everyone.
Yeah.
So then I think that we are talking about is personal liberation. Someone realizes something is see the possibility of enlightenment or not.
So enlightenment, I'm not thinking.
How many of you have bodhisattva vows, right? Bodhisattva vows? So, bodhisattva vows. We vow, right? Many of us do it 3 times in the morning, 3 times in the evening. We say, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 direction, please pay attention to me. Just all the Buddhas of the past have, developed bodhicitta and then followed in the progressive trainings of the Bodhisattvas. So I too will develop the mind of enlightenment and follow in the trainings and thus, become enlightened. Right? Right. So then, Is that possible for us? Huh? Do we realize it's possible for us?
Yeah, of course, I mean it's possible for everyone.
Why?
Why? Because I mean the mind is, the defilements can be removed.
Why can? How do you know that the defilements can be removed?
Because they're not exactly the nature of mind.
The nature.
The
They're not
nature of-
exactly the nature of
The
mind.
nature of mind is,
The Buddha nature.
Thoughts are adventitious.
is enlightened.
They lack inherent nature. Defilements lack inherent nature. The mind lacks
Yeah, they lack inherent nature. Yeah. And they can be changed, so they can be changed.
Okay. Anyway, isn't that something? Do you guys think about that? You know, it's good to think about, right? Think about how we get to realize what it would mean to realize that enlightenment is possible for one being, for enlightenment is possible for all sentient beings, right? How does that relate to the realization of emptiness, right? What are all the things you need to know to gain certainty of that?
You need to become a Buddha to get certainty of that.
We need to know how the path that Buddha followed. We have to be aware of the path that the Buddha followed to reach Buddhahood. If we are aware of that, then we get a certain kind of certainty that it is possible for us.
Okay. Okay. I'm not going to finish today. Therefore, the mantra, the perfection of wisdom. So I'm back to the commentary. The mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra of completely unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Tata Om Gate Gate Pada Gate Pada Samgate Bodhisattva Ha. Shadabhujita Bodhisattva Mahasava should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Okay? Alright. So now the author of this commentary, Tenzin Namjong, is now commentating on that. So he now is citing an Indian commentator saying, the Manamitra's commentary says, it is a secret mantra because of being a consciousness and because of being a protector. As he says, the original term mantra means mind and protector. Okay, so, therefore, right, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom. So now, in the commentary, it's talking about what it is to be a mantra, and I think it's what, manas, right, and tra, right, mean respectively the mind and protector. So the mantra is what protects the mind, or something that protects the mind. That is the etymological explanation, right? Etymological explanation of the word mantra. Okay? So then it goes on. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is the path of accumulation. The mantra of great knowledge is the path of preparation. The unsurpassed mantra is the path of seeing. The mantra equal to the unequaled is the path of meditation. The mantra that thoroughly completely pacifies suffering is a path of no more learning. So, a little bit interesting, huh? Is the mantra Taitaum Gate Gate Pada Gate Pada Sam Gate Bodhisattva?
Yeah.
It is, right? So, it says, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom is the path of accumulation. it says, right, after the mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Right?
Yeah, it's that paragraph
It's the
before
second
the mantra.
itself. These 5 words.
All of them come one by one. Past mantra, mantra.
Right? So we have the mantra of the perfection of wisdom is the path of accumulation. The mantra of great knowledge is the path of preparation. The Antipath mantra is the path of seeing. The mantra equal to the unequal is the path of meditation. The mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, is the path of no more learning. Right? So, before reading the commentary, right, if you just read this text, right, you would think, well, I thought this, right? Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared tatam gate gate para gate para samgate bodhisattva. So then you would think tatam gate gate para gate para samgate bodhisattva is the mantra of the perfection of wisdom. It's an unsurpassed mantra. It's the mantra equal to the unequal, right? We have one referent to all of those. Yeah? Right? It makes sense. I mean, just like this. So now this author is saying, no, it's not like that. Okay? Something to think about. What I had actually intended on doing tonight, which somehow, yeah, anyway. Those of you have this book, right? The Heart Sutra Explained. Nishita, you have it. Wow. So have you read it?
Like they have segregated as Indian commentaries and Tibetan commentaries.
Yeah, nice.
I'm just starting. Please don't expect so much from me.
No, I expect so much from you. And you want that, actually. You want me to expect much from you. Because in chapter 11, right, it's a whole commentary, an explanation of the Heart Sutra mantra, illuminating the hidden meaning, okay, by Guntang Rinpoche, Kunchok Tenpyo Drenme, right? And so I was actually thinking today, since we're on the mantra section, to go over that commentary, but something else happened, okay? Anyway. In accordance with what is seen by this profound perfection of wisdom, it should be known as true. That is, if an individual meditates in this way, one will know that it is the cause of going to Buddhahood. Okay? Right? This mantra should be known as truth, since it is not false. Right? It should be known as truth. That is, if an individual meditates in this way, one will know that it is the cause of going to Buddha. Okay, so now the actual mantra. Tayata means it is so. That is, it is so that samsara and nirvana are of one taste in being without true existence. Okay? So you'll see this a lot. One taste. One taste. So it does mean different things in different contexts. In this context, it means both samsara and nirvana are equally empty of inherent existence. Okay? Gate means go. The former is the path of accumulation, and the latter is the path of preparation. Right? So we have gate. So the first gate refers to the path of accumulation. The second gate refers to the path of preparation. Paragate means go to the path of seeing. Parasamgate means go to the path of meditation. Bodhisattva means be founded in enlightenment, that is, attain the path of no more learning. This correlation with the 5 paths appears in Mahajana's commentary, and it is not clear in the other Indian commentaries. Tibetan Lamas uphold this, but it is clear that there are other ways of asserting the meaning of the mantra. Om and Svaha, bless the mantra with power. The absence of Om here is incorrect because it says in the Prajnapadamita Hridaya Sadhana, written by Nagarjuna, if you are tired, recite the mantra of truth, adding Tayata and Om. So, in our own translation of this, the Tayata is there, but the Om is in brackets. Okay? So, in the kind of original text, well, in the Tibetan that we have, it's Tayata, Gata Gata Pada Gata Pada Samgata Bodhisattva. Okay? But, and therefore, Tenzin Namjong says the absence of Om here is incorrect, because it says in the Prajnapadamita Hridaya Sadhana, written by Nagarjuna, if you're tired, recite the mantra of truth, adding Tayata and Om. Okay? So, if in that it's saying add Tayata and Om, then it seems that in the original Sanskrit, what is there? Does it say just Gate Gate Pada Gate Pada Samgate Bodhisattva? In the Sanskrit.
No,
Even here, in this it is written here.
No. It's in brackets, right?
yeah,
Brackets means it's not there in the original.
yeah.
So are those Tayata and Om in brackets, or is it
No,
straight out?
Tayata is there, but Om is not there.
In Sanskrit?
Yeah.
Tayata is there, no Om. Okay. So then, so, by the way, okay, you guys should be doing this, right? What do you think, right? Because Nagarjuna is saying, and by the way, there is doubt whether this is really Nagarjuna, right? But anyway, if you're saying adding Tayata and Om, right, it seems that, right, just do the math. It would have to be Gate Gate Pada Gate Pada Samgate Bodhisattva, right, at first. Then Nagarjuna, or whoever this Nagarjuna is, then says, add Tayata and Om, then you get Tayata, Om, Gate Gate Pada Gate Pada Samgate Bodhisattva, right? If it's Tayata, Gate Gate Pada Gate Pada Samgate Bodhisattva, then you would just say add Om. You wouldn't say add Tayata and Om,
Yeah.
right? So that's why I'm asking what is in the Sanskrit. But, you can look.
I will check.
The Sanskrit is a translation of the Tibetan, so that is not.
What?
Originally, which was from Nalanda, it should be Sanskrit. And then translated
It's
into
translated from the Tibetan into
No, but the
Sanskrit.
Prajnapadamitas were in
Om is not
Sanskrit
there.
first.
Om is not
And then translated into
Yeah, but
There
is
is-
Tayata there?
There is no Om, Tayata is there.
there.
Tadyata dot Gate Gate.
So then, it would seem that whoever this Nagarjuna that wrote this sadhana, right, what was in front of him was something that just had Gate Gate Pada Gate Pada Samgate Bodhisattva, right? Anyway, but if I were to debate with Tenzin Namjong, the commentator,
Om is considered auspicious, and that is why in the Sanskrit it is added. In my background.
if I were to debate with Tenzin Namjong, right, see, if Nagarjuna is saying add it, right, that means in the original it's not there, right? So to then say the absence of Om here is incorrect, like what does that mean, right?
It means it should be there.
But if it should be there, it means it's not there. Yet it should be, therefore Nagarjuna is saying add it. Right? But then, like, to say it's incorrect means that it's a fault with the original text. It's a corruption of the text. Right? So I would just nitpick with him. Right? Of course, you know, there are different traditions, there's different translations, there are even two versions that we talked about before. There's two versions of this in Tibetan that probably came, either they had the same original Sanskrit text and two different translators translated in different ways, or there could be two multiple versions of the original Sanskrit that then got translated, you know, at different times by different translators. Okay, so you know, the absence of Om here is incorrect. Huh. Anyway. Nishida.
The sentence before that says, Om and Swaha, bless the mantra with power.
Okay, Nishida, what I was saying is, you know, there's a whole chapter on this, the mantra, in this book. And in that, it has actually a translation of this sadhana that is supposedly written by Nagarjuna, and another one written by this Dari Kappa. Dari Kappa. Okay? So, very interesting, actually. Anyway, wow, we're out of time. Okay, let me just finish. Some scholars say that this mantra is not included in the tantras, thinking that it is placed in the sutra system basically, but because the sadhanas of Nagarjuna and Dari Kappa are clearly in the mantra system, there must be a context for including this mantra in the tantras. However, Kejubje said that the sadhanas of Nagarjuna and Dari Kappa are spurious, and some scholars say that they are authentic. Also, there is a commentary on the Heart Sutra in the mantra system by Sri Simha. Therefore, it seems difficult to analyze. Okay, so here, in the commentary by Gundang Rinpoche, which I would encourage you to read, it starts to talk about, you know, what makes something part of the sutra teachings versus what makes something part of the tantra teachings. And there's a lot of debate about that. Okay? Yeah. I'm going to have to ask Venerable Lexo to continue with that. Because we're out of time.
What is the name of the book?
The Heart Sutra Explained by Donald Lopez Jr. Did you get it electronically?
I downloaded it from LibGen.
From where?
LibGen. It's an open access
Huh.
place. You get to download so many books. So,
Wow.
Where did you get it from?
LibGen, LIBGEN.
No copyright
It's a
infringement.
part of the anti-intellectual property movement, so it's open access. There's nothing like private or anything. It's actually, you can Google about it.
Okay. Okay.
No, it's the open access movement. It's, they aggregate a lot of books online
Okay.
to make information accessible to everyone.
Right. Okay. Okay. But Don Lopez, the author, he agreed.
I wouldn't know
I don't think so.
Yeah.
because it's part of their copyright policies. Because I'm sure I don't know.
Yeah.
You
It's a
can get
little.
it for pittance and, not, like, for a reasonable amount on Amazon.
You also got it just.
I got it for the library
Yeah.
from Amazon. I printed in India, Sadhguru Publications.
There is a whole other kind of worms. I'll just say this, and then we have to stop. But you know,
I'm leaving for Dharamsala.
Just give me the name.
yeah. Some say that the Dharma cannot be copyrighted. Right?
I'll get a hard copy.
No. I don't know anything about this. And just no. But there are some, who will put their stuff up for, free distribution and all that. There are organizations that do that. There are others, other translators who expressly say, at the beginning that,
There's a copyright.
no part of this book may be used or reproduced in any manner whatsoever without written permission, except in the case of brief quotations embodied in critical articles and reviews. Okay, now, once I got in touch with, the very amazing translator and scholar Jeffrey Hopkins about getting permission to use, I think one of his translations, maybe for a course here even, I'm not sure. But he was like, well, actually Snowline has the copyright, right? So it's not that he can even give permission, but the publisher would do. So, sometimes what had been copyrighted before, then the owner of the copyright can make it, available for wide dissemination.
There's a whole counterpunch movement in the West. This open access thing you would know about it. It's anti-intellectual property rights.
Yeah, I know.
Because he uploaded so many stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, like, a lot of times, right, it's like, I know, like for example, I used to be a musician, right? Roughly know about this too, right? Then it's like, these small guys, right, a lot of them got decimated with all that Napster and all this business, right? So one of my very good friends, a great musician, Darren Leong, at one point, when we were still like in college, or maybe just out of college, we were 24, and Napster was big, he's like, oh yeah, I don't do that anymore. Because like I want to support these musicians who work very hard to produce this, and then if we just copy it, then they don't do it. So I know like these translators working in Buddhist academia, it's not like, big bucks, right? So,
But the thing is, they're not directly involved. Most of the time, the publishers and the corporates are the ones who are handling.
well, yeah, that's what.
Which is why this whole anti-intellectual movement.
Yeah.
Property rights, copyrights. So.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it's,
I'll get a hard copy.
no, this is not about you. It's something to think about.
With literature, they have a huge collection of books. They're based in Russia and they're running into trouble with the law because obviously the US, they are very strict regarding the copyright. So, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I hope, although it wasn't going to my plan, I hope you guys learned something. Yeah. And I'll ask Lexo to pick up where we left off. Well, I thought it'd be a good idea to go through that commentary by Guntang Tenpa Drongme. But I guess it's up to him how he wants to teach it. Okay, so let's leave it at that. Let's dedicate the merit. So, due to the merit that we've accumulated in our time tonight, may all sentient beings, vast of space, quickly attain the state of enlightenment, completely free of all suffering. May the precious teachings spread in 10 directions forever. May the teachers, our holy gurus, showing the unmistaken path to enlightenment, have all their life obstacles removed, and have all their holy wishes fulfilled immediately. And then in the meantime, in this world and all the other world systems in 10 directions, may there be no undesirable things, including no war, no natural disasters, no disease, no poverty, any undesirable thing. May all those be completely pacified, and sentient beings, abide in a state of, worldly prosperity and happiness until they're able to achieve the state of complete enlightenment. Okay. So, yeah. We'll leave it at that. It will be quite some time before I come back here again. So I probably will upload a few more of these supplementary videos. But, I'll just stress again the importance, right, for you guys to take the initiative and study, think about things, discuss things, amongst yourselves. yeah. You know, even the Buddha said that I only show you the path, but it's up to you to traverse it. I don't know what the verb. So, if even the Buddha were here, right, and he gave a teaching on the Heart Sutra, you guys still would have to study, reflect, and do all that, right? So of course, you know, it's not like, you know, it's comparing like a raindrop to the ocean, right? So especially because, you know, I'm not a qualified teacher, I can't impart the level of understanding to you guys. So it gives you even more reason why you need to make more effort yourself, and have a bit of, how do you say, skepticism, you know, inquisitive kind of feeling when you read this, and not be satisfied with what's here on the page, right? I don't know. Do you guys? You have this you know? Do you leave this book here? Do you have your own copy? I'm just a rhetorical question.
I don't have.
Yeah. So just rhetorical means you don't say anything, right? So then, you know, okay, that's one question. Do you, okay? Then if you do have your own copy, right, then should be like, with respect, of course, right? You write in the margin, big question mark, you know, you underline some things, you have somewhere else, like, you know, page 15, then a question you have, right? And then next time you come here and there's a teacher here, you ask that question, right? But that you've thought about, right? You know, and then also like sometimes you leave it aside and just be like, okay, just think going over the meaning again. You know, thinking about it, right? Wisdom arising from contemplation. Anyway, these doubts that I bring to the table here, right? I don't know, like, I'm not expecting you guys just to come to the right answer, like, right away. In fact, many of you, it's like a little guessing game, right? I feel sometimes, where it's like I ask something and you're like, oh, it's this, you know, like, without really penetrating deeply into why this question is difficult to begin with, right? So, you know, it's like, you know, marinating, right? Marinating, you know, marinating. Those of you who cook, or those of you who even know what marinating means, right? You have the, whatever, meat, okay? I'm a vegetarian, but I'm just saying. You got the meat, you put it in the sauce, right? You let the sauce soak in, right? So it's like that, right? Don't be quick. Don't be quick to arriving at the answer, right? Let it marinate, right? Then it's more tasty. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that's that. So thank you very much. And yeah, it might be like 2 months or something before I come here again.
Back in 1 month.
Yeah. So, yeah. Even the appearance of teachers is a dependent arising on students, right? No, anyway, I'm going to be trying.